The simplest way to define globalisation is the bringing together of economies and societies. Globalisation is the process by which the world is becoming increasingly interconnected as a result of massively increased trade and cultural exchange. Globalisation has been taking place for hundreds of years, but has speeded up enormously over the last half-century. Globalisation has resulted in increased international trade, a company operating in more than one country, greater dependence on the global economy, freer movement of capitals, goods and services, recognition of companies such as McDonald's and Starbucks in LEDCs. There are several key factors which have influenced the process of globalisation. Improvements in transportation. Larger cargo ships mean that the cost of transporting goods between countries has decreased. Economies of scale mean that the cost per item can reduce when operating on a larger scale. Transport improvements also mean that goods and people can travel more quickly. Freedom of trade. Organisations like the World Trade Organization, WTO, promote free trade between countries, which helps to remove the barriers between the countries in the world. Improvements of communications. The internet and mobile technology has allowed greater communication between people in different countries. Labour availability and skills. Countries such as India have lower labour costs, about a third of that of the UK, and also high skill levels. Labour-intensive industries such as clothing can take advantage of cheaper labour costs and reduce legal restrictions in LEDCs. Factors attracting TNCs to a country may include cheap raw materials, cheap labour supply, good transport, access to markets where the goods are sold, friendly government policies. Globalisation is having a dramatic effect, for good or ill, on world economies and on people's lives. Some of the positive impacts are inward investment by TNCs helps countries by providing new jobs and skills for local people. TNCs bring wealth and foreign currency to local economies where they buy local resources, products and services. The extra money created by this investment can be spent on education and health. The sharing of ideas, experiences and lifestyles of the people and cultures. People can experience foods and other products not previously available in their countries. Globalisation increases awareness of events in faraway parts of the world. For example, the UK was quickly made aware of the 2004 tsunami tidal wave and sent help rapidly in response. Globalisation may help to make people more aware of global issues such as deforestation and global warming, and alert them to the need for sustainable development. Globalisation operates mostly in the interests of the richest countries, which continue to dominate the world trade at the expense of developing countries. The role of LEDCs in the world market is mostly to provide the North and West with cheap labour and raw materials. There are no guarantees that the wealth from inward investment will benefit the local community. Often profits are sent back to the MEDC, where the TNC is based. Transnational companies, with their massive economies of scale, may drive local companies out of business. If it becomes cheaper to operate in another country, the TNC might close down the factory and make local people redundant. An absence of strictly enforced international laws means that TNCs may operate in LEDCs in a way that would not be allowed in an MEDC. They may pollute the environment, run risks with safety, or impose poor working conditions and low wages on the workers. Globalisation is viewed by many as a threat to the world's cultural diversity. It is feared it might drown out local economies, traditions and languages, and simply recast the whole world in the mould of the capitalist North and West. An example of this is that a Hollywood film is far more likely to be successful worldwide than one made in India or China, which also have thriving film industries. Industry may begin to thrive in LEDCs at the expense of jobs in manufacturing in the UK and other MEDCs, especially in textiles. So globalisation is what allows you to communicate with your friends, go on holiday, try foods from other countries and buy your clothes so cheaply. But all this comes at a cost. Children have to work long hours for very little wage. Is globalisation good or bad? You decide.